We are now joined by our race winner, Denny Hamlin. Picked up his 4th win here at Bristol Motor Speedway. And how challenging was it out there for you today?
Yeah, it was challenging, but it was a different kind of challenge for sure. Certainly something that we've not had to do for a very long time in managing tires. So, lesson learned early on. I kind of ran, certain pace, ran a certain line, wore my tires out, and then from that point on made some adjustments internally, and he made some adjustments to the car that allowed me to just manage it from that point on. So once it got into that tire management type of race, certainly my history in late models where you had to do that big time, it certainly paid off.
Yeah, we'll keep it here to Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. Ask you both, was this something you'd like to see on a regular basis on a every short track race?
Listen, it's certainly most of the answers you're going to get from me today. It's going to be from a bias standpoint, right? We won the race. There's probably a handful that hated what happened, but I think if you change nothing, right? If you change absolutely nothing with the tire, nothing with the resin, and we came back next week, many teams would make big adjustments with their cars to help with tire wear, and drivers would make adjustments. So it would automatically get better no matter what. Do we want them wearing out in 40, 50 laps? No. That's probably a little bit on the low end for sure. But certainly this is what happens when you get tire wear. It is comers and goers, and I guarantee you, surely you guys at NASCAR have sent out a stat pack of all the passes that happened today. So, yeah, it has to be. But, there was just, there was times where I was leading and tires just pressure me, and I'm like, no, it's not time. It's go ahead. And that's how it used to be. It really used to be that way. So it was fun from my standpoint because obviously I had a good car that helped me, do what I needed to do.
Yeah. My answer to that is the same one I kind of alluded to earlier. And honestly, while it's hard on us, yes, it's supposed to be hard. You're supposed to see these guys struggle. You're supposed to see the 25th place car look like a mess and the team's trying to figure out how to rebound and rally and help him understand where this run, management didn't work, or the leader's running too hard this run, and tell your driver, hey, you weren't in the lead this time, but this happened, and let him adjust inside. It's supposed to be hard. This is not supposed to look easy. So I think this is what you see when you make it hard.
This is the first time the driver played a huge role in a long time. Long time. But it's a different philosophy from what we're used to, which is everyone's just kind of on the gas all the time, running the bottom. That's the shortest way around. But now technique was a huge deal to today.
Go next to Jacob, then the Dustin.
Jacob Silman, Race Face Digital. I've got one directed at both Denny and Chris, and then a follow-up for Denny. For both of you have already mentioned this harkens back to the late model background that both of you had. Without giving away trade secrets, what kinds of things through the course of that race are you leaning on, relying on, pulling from your brain in order to make that successful at the end of the race?
Well, he did a great job of just updating me with every pit stop what was going on with the tires. Hey, this was this amount of run, many laps. This tire was corded, that tire was corded, and just letting me make adjustments from there. That's really what he did great, and it allowed me to do my job at a high level when you have that kind of information. And certainly he just kept making the car better as well. So it's certainly. It's not all driver. You have to have a car that is easy on the tires as well, and they just did a great job, building me that today.
Yeah, it's just again, it's so far off the playbook from what anyone was expecting when the lift gates opened Saturday morning. No one. There's not a single driver, single crew chief, single engineer that planned on this. And you calibrate your entire world around a certain set of parameters for Bristol. And it was pretty clear right after practice, and again pretty clear 80 laps into the race, that all that had to go out the window. And now it's instincts, because a lot of your prep work and tools and planning for the most part, are invalid. Now, it's still a race car. It's still got an engine and a driver and four black things on it for a while until they turn gray. But it's way different. So you got to go off instinct every part of the race, and that's everybody. That's the tire guy. That's the car chief. That's the mechanics helping. I mean, we went through so many tires, and every 40 laps, those guys are having to get data off the tires, get the information to me so I can get it to him, get the next set ready to go. Oh, Goodyear released another set. We got to go get it. We've got to match that set up. I mean, we don't just bolt them on the car. There's a lot that goes into what did we get? How's it going to match up with the tires that we had? When do we want to use those? When do you want to use your qualifying scuffs? I mean, it had it all, and that really makes it fun.
Denny, would you call a race like this kind of a chess match where you're almost having to, I don't want to compare it totally to a road course, but where you're kind of having to plan a couple moves ahead and know where you want to be at the end rather than just where you are in the moment?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was mainly it was when I was controlling the race and leading. I just had a certain pace, looking at the dash. Here's the lap time. He would keep me updated that you're running a little quicker this time. So he did a good job of kind of reeling me back in. And it was a chess match. I mean, there was a time where me and the 5 were up front, and I was on the outside, and he was leading, and I could tell he was just really going slow. And I told the spotter, hey, if we want to just run side by side, I'm good with that. Let's just block both lanes and back up the whole field, because it was a chess match. But, I didn't realize till later that, the line I was running was just killing my tires. So it was just, you learned on the fly, and you just made adjustments. And each run we made, we just got a little better.
Go to Dustin, then the Bob.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Chris, to your right, you mentioned about we have to learn from this. When you said earlier, are you talking about the sport or the team? And if so, what needs to be learned from the lessons from something like that?
In my opinion, the sport needs to learn from this. Again, I've been saying for a while from my little microphone when anyone asks is that we got to stop talking badly about Goodyear in these situations. This is not bad. Goodyear can make a 1,000,000-mile tire that I have on my car when I get to the airport and drive home. It's fantastic. I never have any trouble with it. This is supposed to be sport. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to force these guys to make decisions in the car. Do I go now? Do I not? The crew chiefs to make decisions on how they treat the tire with their setups. How long do you want to run this stint? Because you can't just run the fuel tank out and the tire not blow. It might blow on you. I mean, that last green flag stop when we called him in, I can't tell you how stressful it was. If NASCAR throws the caution when I'm on pit road, I'm in a lot of trouble. And he knows it. But he's telling me, hey, this tire is about to blow out. And finally, you look up and you're thinking strategy the whole time. I've ran this many green flag laps. There'll be this many to the end. Who's pit and who's not? And we look like a jalopy out there compared to cars with tires. So you're trying to manage all that. And I'm telling you, we took that set of tires off that right rear tire. Wasn't going to make it 2 more laps, and we'd have had a flat tire like so many others. But what I want everyone to understand is that's not bad.
Yeah, don't overreact.
It's not bad. It's okay. Quit beating Goodyear up over things like this. They're supposed to be a part of the sport and make it hard on us. And I think that's the narrative we got to start talking about.
I think when he talks about what to learn, certainly there's something that was different, whether it be the resin or the tire or something that was different from the last time we raced here, although it was not supposed to be. I think the resin was supposed to be different. So whatever happened in the mixture department, maybe at Goodyear, that's something certainly that could be used, maybe not to that extent, but it could be used. I mean, I think they have to figure out what in their process changed from this batch of tires versus last, and just cut it back a little bit.
And that's very well said. What you don't want it to be is an accident. And I think Goodyear, everyone will tell you, no, we didn't expect this. So you want to learn from it in the sense that, how did we do this, and how can we monitor that and change it and make it something a little less extreme, and then apply it to other racetracks. I mean, there's a lot to be learned in it.
Denny, for somebody who's won 52 races, and you've won here before, and you've won some big events in your career, but when you talk about having an impact in a way that you hadn't had in a long time, What does this win mean for you personally?
Way more proud. I know I had such a huge role in the result. I can't, if the car was not good, I wasn't going to win, but I feel like I played a huge factor in the result. So it's really a proud one for me. Certainly one of the more proud ones I've had in my career, no question.
Mr. Bob?
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. Blaney compared it to Daytona, where you're working on fuel mileage. Other people were calling it S shows. I'm curious, like, if that tire had blown as you were telling that it was about to blow, would you be bitter? Would you have a different feeling?
I would have said we should have pit sooner. I mean, the good news, is I felt I blew one all the way out earlier in the race, so I knew what the timetable was of, okay, when I feel this, I've got a couple more laps, and then this thing's not going to hold air anymore. So he did a really good job calling me in when I said, red flag, we're in big trouble here. Like, because it happened so quick.
And the other thing everyone's got to understand is during that time frame, we're pitted right off of turn 4. It's loud. And Lambert's driving him through traffic, and, we're talking with engineers and pit crew, and, like, there is so many voices in my head in that instant that, like, him telling me and me managing to actually even hear it, let alone process what he said, how urgent is it, it is hard. So, listen, we had a great car, and Denny drove a great race, and, how would I feel if we run 10th or 15th? I can tell you one thing. I would have said, man, that was hard, and that's good. I don't want to hear. It's supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be easy for all of us to manage, and who air blocked the best. And I want it to be hard, and that was hard.